always welcomed here. Your committee has been hard at work putting together a day full of information for you. So we want you to be enlightened and engaged with our keynote speaker, Ms. Foreman, so that you can benefit from her experience, her intellect, and her wisdom. We want you all to participate in your sessions so that you can leave with information and awareness about college and make some very sound decisions when you leave here today. The only other thing that I want to add is that there is nothing magical about being a vice president of a college or a president of a college or a business owner or whatever it is that you want to do. I was born and raised right here in Modesto, and from Mohai, I went to UC Berkeley. From UC Berkeley, I went to USC. From USC, Oregon State. From Oregon State to Harvard. There is nothing you can do when you are from this community, because there is a room full of people out here There is a room full of people out here that are engaged and committed to helping you do similar to what I did. If you will just work with them and partner with them, listen to your parents, listen to your grandparents, your aunts, your adopted mother, whatever it may be, whoever is raising you and trying to help guide you in that direction, if you will listen to them, your pastors, your teachers, your coaches, your counselors, your mentors, those people are investing in you. And I am living proof that that investment will pay off if you will just pay attention. So if nothing else, when you leave here today, know that this can happen to you. You can be a president of a college, you can be an entrepreneur and a business owner, you can be whatever it is that you can imagine if you just capitalize on the resources that are in this room. So enjoy your conference.
All right, so key word there, operative word. As Tim said, you need to pay what? Pay what? Attention. She didn't say pay for your hair to get done, pay for your nails to get done, pay for them $150 Jordans. She said pay what? Attention. And all that other stuff will come. All right, next, we have to really welcome, because we have a very distinguished and honored guest here in Modesto, who comes all the way from, who hails from Houston, Texas, but resides here in the Bay Area, Oakland, California. She is a businesswoman, business owner. She's family. So it's been a real pleasure knowing Ms. Foreman. She's an actress, business owner, mother, and also a person who takes care of her elderly mother, which is also an honor in its right, giving that many elderly folks don't have their children or family members to give them quality care in those silver and golden years. And so Ms. Foreman, she is the owner of Cynthia Foreman's signature products, which I have the pleasure in indulging in them shortbread cookies, boy, and they don't last long. They don't last long. You get one of them on your taste buds, and believe me, you can't put them down. And so you should have some at your tables there. The wonderful ASMJC students have graciously handed out there on behalf of Ms. Foreman. Again, Ms. Foreman hails from Houston, Texas. I'm not going to go. You have her bio on your program. She's going to come and talk about herself, her amazing journey to where she's at. She's also married to a Raider Hall of Famer as well, and I'd like to give her a shout out for really being here with us, because she has been taking care of her husband, who is still dealing with injuries from his NFL football years. And so she's been taking care of him, and she took time out of her schedule to come here and be with us here in Modesto. So she is really a very giving person. So I want you all to give her an outstanding, warm Modesto, Stanislaus County, or wherever you from, welcome for Miss Cynthia Foreman.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, I'm from Texas, y'all. And when you're in Texas, you have that drawl, and we say y'all and come on and all those type of things. But I'm so honored to be here this morning in Modesto, and even more honored to be in front of young people like yourselves. It is so important that you make the right decision, and you're at the right age now, that whatever decision you make will last you for the rest of your life. Now, in talking about my products, if you notice on the bag, and I'll get into there later, there's a picture of me. And the reason that that picture is there is because a few years ago, I was in a store, and there was a lady, in fact, 3 ladies, that were selling sweet potato pies. And because they were selling the sweet potato pies, customer came back in the store and complained that the pie didn't taste the way that it did before. So I thought about it. They showed me the pie. It wasn't my pie. So I decided just across the aisle, I saw a picture of Aunt Jemima on a pancake box. So the next week, I went back into the store, and all of my pies had my picture on it, and it said Sweetie Pies. Now that wasn't done for vanity. That's what you call branding. And we'll talk about that later today in the meeting. But I'd like to tell you and share with you how my story really began. I started my business as a fundraiser for my church. I'm from Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church in Houston, Texas. And we all know, if you're a Baptist, that you do fundraisers, and you do them quite often. So we had a fundraiser. My daughter was in the Little Folks Choir, and they were raising money for robes. And I wanted to do something a little different than what the other parents were doing. I didn't want to make dinners, because I'm not that good of a cook. And I didn't want to give just a slice of pie or a cake. I wanted to give people an individual pie that they could enjoy. But I thought about, usually if a person gives you a slice of pie, you might eat half of it, the rest of it you'll throw away. But if you have your own individual pie, it kind of makes you feel a little special. So I made these individual pies, and I can tell you within less than 30 minutes, I would sell 150 to 300 pies after church. It went on so long that the fundraiser was over, the choir robes were bought, and people were still demanding the pies. What I did not know then is that the fundraiser had turned into a micro business. Now, sometimes when you have an idea for business, other people kind of shun away the fact that it's something that you could do great things with. Now, if you ever just want to be a small business, that's fine. But that means you're going to have to do all of the work. You're going to have to boil the potatoes, mash them up, put the stick of butter, all the ingredients alone. And that's the way I started. But that is not the way it is now for me. When I was doing those pies on the church parking lot. There were a lot of things that happened, and a lot of times I was disenchanted, didn't think that I could really go anywhere with that. So in 2006, my daughter went off to Clark University, and by the way, the name Sweetie Pies at that time was way before the TV reality show Sweetie Pies. I'm sure you all are aware of that show. But that's a restaurant, and I did manufacturing and distribution. The reason why manufacturing and distribution is so important is because as consumers, African Americans and other minorities, we usually buy products and sell it on a retail, but very few of us make anything. So the difference was, I not only sold my pies, I manufactured my pies, and I distributed my pies. And trying not to get ahead of myself, I could not see how I could really make that a business that was viable to take care of myself and my daughter. And also, if you notice on your bag, in very small print, you'll see he got the grill, but I kept the oven. No mistake. I was married to a gentleman that was a world heavyweight champion. His name was George Foreman. And you saw him on TV with the grills, but you didn't know that I kept the real oven. So I monopolized on that. It really wasn't my idea, but I was in the meeting trying to get a bank loan, and I was denied the loan, but the president of the bank, she said, "Cynthia, I have another idea for you. He got the grill, but I kept the oven." And I said, "I don't want to use that." But I did. And it was the best advice that I had gotten from free. I didn't get the bank loan, but I got a tag on my business. And what it did was, it enveloped conversation. So sometimes when I'm in stores doing an in-store demo, somebody will start talking just because of the last name. And it gives me an opportunity to tell them how good my products are. Now, from that part, I went into a few mom and pop stores in the Oakland area. Some of them your parents or other people may be familiar with. I went into Berkeley Bowl West. I went into Walgreens in Emeryville, and I ended up having 13 Walgreens stores. And then something very unique happened to me. I was in a meeting with my co-packers, and I had been showing the cookies as well. They'd been selling well in Walgreens, and I had to switch between cookies and pies because pies have a shorter shelf life, cookies have a longer shelf life. And if you want to make money in business, you want to do something that's going to give you longevity. So I went into Walgreens and had these little brown bags, and I had cherry almond shortbread cookies. When I had the cherry almond shortbread cookies, I put them in a very simple bag with my picture on the label. Well, the same people that had been buying my pies were not apprehensive about trying the cookies because the pies were good, so they tried the cookies because they saw the same picture. Another form of branding. Well, what happened is, the manufacturers sent my cookies to the corporate office of Walgreens in Chicago for the buyers meeting. I was unaware. They gave me a call on a Thursday afternoon in July, and they told me, "Cynthia, we sent your cookies to Walgreens and corporate." And I was like, wait a minute, don't get angry, because you know you like to stay in control. This is your company, but someone does something and they don't inform you. Sometimes instinctively you feel that maybe they're trying to take it from me. So I had to stay calm and keep a level head. They were not trying to take it from me. Actually, Walgreens was looking for a brand name. And although I wasn't a household name, I had been selling pretty well in the 13 stores that I had on my own put the products in. From that day, I went from 13 stores to 3,755 Walgreens nationwide, including Alaska and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Now, when I went into the stores, it was not easy. And here comes the next part of this story. I want you to think about two words, pioneer and prototype. I know you're old enough to know the meaning of both words, but I'll just refresh your memory. A pioneer is someone that goes into unknown territory. And a prototype is an original. It's something that usually people copy or develop because of something they've seen. When I went into this business, I searched for a mentor. I searched for anybody, African American, male or woman, anybody that I could talk to. I found nobody that was doing what I wanted to do. Now, was it easy? Certainly not. But the roadmap to success never is. What happened is that I spent a lot of time at 3 o'clock in the morning in a commercial kitchen in Emeryville, boiling potatoes, peeling potatoes, mixing potatoes by myself. So scared that sometime I'd hear the pot drop, and I'd scare myself because I was in there by myself, locked in. I knew that what I had could make it. Everybody else kind of laughed, and sweet potato is such a common thing, especially if you're from the African American community or from the South. Everybody you know makes a sweet potato. The most important thing about that is that you have to know when you want to find a product or whatever it is you do, you have to become an expert about it. Sometimes you can't Google it, and sometimes you can't find it on the internet. So there were 3 stories that went to my product. I needed to have the Cynthia Foreman story. That's the person. I needed the sweet potato story. That's different from a yam. Sweet potato is stringy. Yam has the orange texture, and whenever you bake a yam, it's going to always come out with an orange texture. You bake a sweet potato, it might be a little lighter. That doesn't seem that important, but it is because it affects the taste. And people buy with their eyes and their taste. So that was real important. The other thing was that there were a lot of roadblocks. I had a lot of caution signs, I had a lot of pitfalls, and I had a lot of tears. Because trying to make someone believe what I believed that I was able to do became disheartening at times. But that's when you reach down and realize that you are in control of your success. Nobody else is. You are. So it's almost like you have to develop tunnel vision. And I'm not saying block your ears to an older person mentoring you, trying to tell you which direction to go to, because they can see, and maybe you're going in a path that they've gone, and surely they may have some better ways of helping you get to where you want to get. But there's something that you have to hold on to that's just for you, even when nobody else sees it. You have to be blind to failure. But the other thing about being blind to failure is that when I first went into Walgreens and all those 3,000 plus stores, I was selling out. In less than a month and a half, I had sold 53.1%. That sounds pretty good, especially only being in the store 1.5 months. It wasn't that good. The reason why it wasn't that good is because Walgreens required that you sell a minimum of 80%. But I had done this in less than a month and a half, and I had at least 6 months to get the 80%, so surely I was going to be able to accomplish that goal. But I couldn't get myself out the stockroom. There were stores that I would call. I'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'd call to Chicago, I'd call to Mississippi, Alabama, and anonymously I would call and act like I was a customer asking for the product. I mean, they had to know I wasn't a customer because I even gave them the SKU number. So, you know, a customer wouldn't have the SKU number. But I was trying to do whatever I could to get my product on the shelf. But it didn't happen that easily. And I still, to this day, am still selling product because some of the product is just now getting out of the stock room, going into the shelves. Now, there are some assumptions that you could make why that happened to me. And your assumptions would probably be right. But I care not to dwell on those reasons. What I want to dwell on instead, that during the same time I was having a problem getting my product on the shelves out of the stock room, a marquee with my logo appeared twice in New York City's Times Square. That was a big thing. There hadn't been an American woman on a product like that since Aunt Jemima, and that was only over 130 years ago. When we go into the workshop later, I'll go back and really talk about Aunt Jemima and why I am not ashamed to be compared in any way to her. I am ashamed of the history associated by it, but I'm not ashamed of the effort because she was the first corporate model. And although she's been described as a slave on a box, to this day, when you walk out of here, she's on every shelf in every store across America. That was not just a thing for me. I had participated with Walgreens on other occasions before I even put my products in all those 3,700 stores. I participated with the Walgreens and AARP Wellness Tour. Just last month, I had members of the Oakland Raiders appear with me for free flu shots for the community, where I gave away product to everybody who came to get a flu shot. Every time you're trying to build something and you are a minority, you always have to be expected to do more than anybody else. It is very difficult in America for women to rise to the top, and might I say women and minorities. But that's a given. That's because of the way they look at things and the way things are done at the bottom. The wage disparities, the reason why women are minorities are not always invited to sit at the table, wouldn't it be good if I could have gone into a corporate boardroom and told them our life experiences and why we should be on the shelf? Instead, category buyers who think that they know what we like pick the products that we buy. But very seldom do we protest about it. And when I say protest, my protest is that we should support other products by asking for what we want in the store consistently. I want a woman that looks like me. I want somebody product that's mine. We're not all about hair care products. We eat too. So we want to get products that reflect us. Now, they will always tell you in business that it's all about the numbers. That's true. But if I never make it to the shelf, I'll never make the numbers. So you have to always, where there's a negative, some kind of way you have to push past that thought and go to the positive thought and make the opportunity for yourselves. The other thing that I'd like to tell you is that when I go into a meeting, they're not expecting or comfortable with speaking with me. They usually want to see someone that looks like them, which is usually a male, and more often a Caucasian male gentleman. But it's time for me to represent me, and I think I'm the best one that knows how to represent me. And I think that you also have to realize that what you do now, I've told that the general age in here is 14 and up, but there are some younger in here. And I was talking to the doctor while I was sitting at the table, and I remembered that at 15 years old, I was Miss Black Teenage America, and I won the title in Madison Square Gardens. And for me to be in that environment at 15 years old, and Pepsi Cola was a sponsor, so it was on television everywhere. For me to be at that place at that appointed time, I had to have confidence in myself. And I remember my mother saying to me, if you don't win, it's not because you're not good enough. It's just that it's not your time. You have to leave here today knowing that if something doesn't happen on the time scale that you want it to happen, doesn't mean that it can't happen. The timing just may not be for you right then. A lot of people in business tell you all of the sugar-coated things. I mean, it's good that most of my customers, by the way, they don't call me Miss Foreman, they call me Sweetie Pie. And that was my nickname, and even my 4-year-old customers, when they see me coming in the store, they say, hi, Sweetie Pie. So I don't care about you calling me Sweetie Pie today. But one of the other things that you have to learn in business is how to accept rejection. And you should know that rejection should not make you bitter. It should make you tougher. And once you attain success, you'll have relationships that sometimes bring that into question. You won't always be able to, like now, if a friend offends you, you may lash out verbally. Won't be able to do that in business. Because in business, you're going to meet the same person that offended you. You're going to see them next week or next month. And they may not let you in that time either. But it's your character and how you dealt with the situation that eventually will break through. Now, my company was built on a foundation of integrity. And a lot of people say that and they mean it. But I mean it so much that I've had people call me over the holidays and they say, "Miss Foreman, when I opened my bag of cookies, they were just a bunch of crumbs." Well, now I could have said, well, just get some ice cream and just pour them over and just have crumbs and cream. But I don't do that because I can't explain to them that Walgreens drivers distributed the cookies. So if they drop the boxes on the concrete floor, it's a possibility. I was making myself, my attorney was advising me, "Cynthia, you're not going to have any money," because I was trying to send everybody who called with a complaint a new bag of cookies. That was okay for me because I was hoping that they would see that I cared. And the other thing is, people always say the secret to success. What's your secret? Well, let me tell you something. There is no secret, and the real secret is simply hard work. That's all it takes to be successful. Now, it does take, for me, because I'm a Christian, it takes a lot of prayer for me. Because I have sometimes, have you ever seen, well, you're a little young, but there was a movie out called Sybil. And Sybil had a whole lot of different personalities. And if you catch me on the right day, I got a whole lot of personalities. Because if they are not getting those cookies out, and if that machine isn't rolling, packaging those cookies, then you get a whole different, I'm not this Cynthia you sitting here. But I try to compose myself, and I try to treat people as family. So what I do, this I know you remember, how many of you all saw the Michael Jackson video after his passing? They released the Michael Jackson video. And you notice that in the video, he kept saying when he corrected someone, "I'm doing it with love. I'm doing it with love." So that's what I try to do with my staff, is I go on and ball them out, and then I say, "But I love you." Because I know that we have to be better than anybody else. And let me explain to you what I feel real success is. See, real success is when you're able to fail and fall and get back up. Because that's going to happen. And it just doesn't, when I first did these cookie bags, in fact, we're going to have some new bags. The bags wouldn't fit down the roller. So we had problems with the bags. I got to Chicago and they said, "Ms. Foreman, we're canceling the order." I said, "Canceling the order?" So we canceling it because your bags weren't here on time and we just not going to do it. At 3 o'clock in the morning, there was a gentleman who's just stepped down as the CEO named Greg Wiseman of Walgreens. From my hotel room, I wrote him a letter. Went to bed, didn't think about it, prayed about it, went to church, and I said in the letter that you could not believe that I've done all of this to fail. Now, I went to church, didn't look at the email. 6 o'clock that afternoon, looked at it. He said, "Can you meet me on Monday in my office?" I met him, met the vice president, and I discussed it with them, and it was resolved. Because people have to know that you really believe in what you believe in. If you start weighing, or you start acting like you're not so confident, or you settle for, "Okay, well, I'll just try next time," won't get it done. You have to be very dogmatic. And one of the things that I think that is so important to tell you And I wrote down 6 points. And I'm running along because I know that when your age, and you have to listen to people my age, it can get a little taxing. So I appreciate your courtesy that you're allowing me. But I also wrote down for you the unspoken requirements for success. And you might be surprised by what I wrote. Number 1, you need 100%, not 99%, of faith in yourself and in your product. Number 2, you need mental toughness. I'm not talking about flexing your muscles or beating your chest. You have to be mentally tough. You can't let them see you sweat. Number 3, you have to have courage to face whatever challenge is in front of you. And you gotta face it head on. Then you have to be patient, because patience is what gets you through the storm. Number 5, you have to have determination to reach your goal. And lastly, you have to have tears. And yes, I said tears because there are 2 types of tears that you have to have as an entrepreneur. The first type of tears are the tears that you cry and to gather yourself together, refresh yourself after a disappointment, because you're going to have some disappointments. The second tears are the tears that you cry with rejoicing and celebration because you accomplished that thing you wanted to do. So it's important to leave here today with letting you know that success is an upward journey. And my destination is Cynthia Foreman's signature products. If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't have pancake mix and cornbread mix and every other kind of mix we're coming up with to try to make it possible. Because the snack food industry is a male-dominated industry, and you don't see women that look like me. I think you had one other woman, is Sylvia, and she had a vegetable, canned goods. But you don't see anybody else, and it should be more than one Aunt Jemima, and it should be a CEO. It should be a COO. Should be a president of the company. Think about it. Aunt Jemima was the logo on some pancakes, and she never even owned a share in the company. Never benefited. In fact, they didn't pick Aunt Jemima that looked like me. They picked Aunt Jemima. The first Aunt Jemima was very dark lady, mammy roll. I come from them. I am Aunt Jemima. My hair may be straighter, but my genes are Aunt Jemima. And the other thing I want to say to you that I don't want you to be fearful of success. Because don't you know when they told me originally that I was going into 8,000 Walgreens? There was some fear. How can I do this? You can't be afraid of opportunity when it comes knocking at your door. You have to be ready to go through. There's an attorney that was a very close family friend of mine. And you're young, but you may remember Johnny Cochran. And he said, if you doesn't fit, you have to quit. Well, the other thing that Johnny Cochran said was preparation, preparation, preparation is the residue of hard work. Now, those are things that stayed with me. And I have another friend of mine named Bill Russell. Now, all my friends are old because they're mentors of mine, and I love them dearly. And about 2 days ago, Bill said to me, "Little bit," that's what he calls me. He didn't call me sweetie pie, just called me little bit, but I guess if you're 6'11", you can call me little bit. And he said to me, "Do you know what's the most expensive car?" And I'm thinking, because he's always telling me when I make a lot of money, I have to buy him a Rolls Royce, and it has to be the Celtics colors and have all his championship things on it. And I said, "No, it's a Bentley or Rolls or Ferrari." I'm trying to think, what is the most expensive car? I don't even know if any of you know. Do you know what the most expensive car is? What? No? No? Let me give you a hint about this car. It's the most expensive car, and it doesn't have a reverse. Okay, you ready for me to tell you? The most expensive car that doesn't have the reverse is a NASCAR car. It's a race car. 20 billion plus goes into that car because it doesn't have a reverse, and it's done, and all it's supposed to do is go forward. So the next time somebody asks you, where are you going with your life? You don't want to go in reverse. You want to be like that most expensive car. You got one gear, and that gear is to go forward. Now, I don't know if you understand some of the things that I'm trying to say. I didn't do a lot talking about my business. I touched on it. But what you need to know is that if Bill Gates never invented the computer, you wouldn't have that thing that you love so much called social media. So you wouldn't be able to look on the highways of the internet and get some information. If I ask you something, you can go on your computer or your phone and give me the information and debate with me. You're still not being courted to be the top CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Right now, they're less than 4%, and after next month, it'll be down to 1% of CEOs of top Fortune 500 companies. Something has to change. But I think the secret that you don't know is that you are the change. So the change begins with you sitting here, because you are the authors of the stories of your life, and you will be able to tell your stories. Now, my life has not been easy. I know it was hard to believe that I couldn't get a bank loan and all that stuff, because I was married to he got the grill, but I kept the oven. But I still had my own challenges. But let me tell you this thing as I get ready to close. Remember that you are an eagle, and eagles soar. And I'm reminded of that story that so many people, Johnny Cochran, Bill Russell, different people that I've heard speak over the years, and they always talk about the eagle. I know some of the older generation in here know that story about this farmer. Everybody says it a different way, but this farmer had found this little eagle one day, and he was walking, and it fell out of its nest. So he took it home, and he put it in the chicken coop with his other little chickens in the barnyard, and he fed it chicken food, and it walked around doing chicken things because it thought it was a chicken. Then his neighbor came by, and I'm selectively saying the neighbor, and the neighbor told him, he said, "But you got that eagle in there with them chickens. He ain't no chicken. He's a king of the birds." He picked up the little eagle and he raised him up high, and he said, "Spread your wings and fly. You're not a chicken." But the little eagle had been brainwashed, and he believed he was a chicken because he had been doing chicken things and talking chicken talk and walking around the barnyard listening to the rooster and pecking. He didn't know. Neighbor came back another day, and he took him on the rooftop of the barn, opened his wing hand and tried to nudge him. Say, "Listen, spread your wings and fly. You're not a chicken." He got scared, looked down at the chickens, went down, started back eating his chicken food and catching up with the chicken news, okay? On the third occasion, he took that eagle to a mountain, and he stretched up his hands to the heavens. And he said, "Look up at that sky. Spread your wings and fly. You're not a chicken. You're an eagle. You weren't meant to live in the barnyard of life." Now, I don't know whether that eagle, after trembling, he finally stretched his wings and he flew. And I'm not so sure if sometimes he didn't get a little homesick for those chickens. And maybe every now and then he would perch himself somewhere and observe them. But he left that day knowing that he was an eagle and he could fly. So it's important for you to know when you leave here, whatever institution you leave out of, I don't know I don't know the name of your high school, or I don't know if you're a student here at Modesto, but what I do know that wherever you go, you have to know that you can soar. And you also have to be a light for someone else. Because if you ever go into a dark room and you flick on a match, light consumes darkness. And you can see the light just dancing, taking away the darkness. Now, I'm getting ready to sit down, and I have probably been saying it for a second here. But the most important thing that I want to leave with you is that the most important F word in business is faith. Whatever it is, whatever your religious beliefs are, whether you don't have them or you do have them, it all is in you. So just soar and fly. Thank you.
All right, excellent words of wisdom there from Miss Foreman. One more round of applause. One more. I could tell you this. That eagle, after all of that, he wasn't didn't find out it was a chicken. But think about it. He found out in time because he could have very easily ended up at Popeye's Chicken. Could very easily end up at Popeye's Chicken. So just think, had he not discovered, been told who he was, he could have been on Popeye's Chicken bucket. So, heed to the word. We're getting ready to that part in our conference where we go to the workshops. But before we do that, I want to recognize a few folks in the audience, in the community. We got Mr. Frank Johnson here from the NAACP. NAACP, NAACP, you know, whatever you choose. We also got some of the BSU advisors in here. I saw Mr. Ronaldo Rucker back there from BSU. I know Charles, with Brother Charles Broadway, I know he's in here. Also works with BSU for years, Brother Broadway. So as Ms. Foreman talked about mentors and things like that, it's important to have them. I mean, because they can be that supportive and guiding light. Also, you guys will see them in your workshop too, but the Wilson brothers, back through Jack and Jaku, they'll be doing workshops there involved in mentoring. 2 attorneys from our community. We got Pastor Green back there from Christ Unity Baptist Church. We got Pastor Anderson there from Christian Love Baptist Church, so our clergy in the house with us. Also, make sure we got organizations from the community that are in the back there that have some great information for you to have, to take with you, to share with you back in there. If all you folks in the back at those tables, those important information tables back there, just raise your hands up there. Wave them in the air like you just don't care. Yeah. Speaking of Popeye, you know, that brings me to one of my favorite songs. You know, you guys probably know this song too. I'm in love with Pollo Loco. I'm in love with Pollo Loco. Y'all don't know that song? Y'all don't know that song? Y'all don't know that song? Ain't that how it go? Ain't that how that song go? That song don't go like that. I'm in love with Pollo Loco. That ain't how it go? Oh, all right. Every time I hear it, I get hungry. So I go over to Pollo Loco. Okay, some key points. I saw some of you writing information down when Ms. Foreman was up here talking about her story on her way to success in a market and in business where people don't look like her. So if you're writing them down, you know, those who haven't, maybe you look at your neighbors and write down the information. But believing yourself is key. Believe in yourself. No matter how many other people you have that believe in you, if you don't believe in yourself, chances are you won't experience success. So remember that. Remember about mentoring. Mentoring is so important. If you find a mentor, get involved in mentoring. Mentoring is very valid. I just came back from Atlanta, Georgia, down there helping organizations develop mentoring programs to target African American youth in particular African American boys, and developing some programs on a national level in Georgia. So it's very important, very important. And we also have a mentoring program here in Modesto called Project Uplift. Any mentees from Project Uplift in here? I know, I seen you. So reach out. Find a mentor, find a guide, someone who's going to support you in what you do, someone you can talk to as a friend. Okay, our workshop leaders back there are going to be leading. Raise up there, yeah. They're back in the back. Miss Kimberly and her crew. We're going to depart in an orderly fashion. And so we're going to begin. So you're going to get in line with one of those workshops, and they're going to lead you to Sierra Hall in an orderly fashion. Ho, 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 ho. I did not say move. That was not in the instruction. Ms. Foreman said pay attention. So I need you to pay attention. All right? We're going to start with the far tables over here. Far tables over there. If you can proceed to the back. Also, I just saw Pastor Crosby walk in right there. Pastor Crosby there. Recognize Pastor Crosby? Come on, come on, come on. This table right here, this table right here, right here. Don't be scared. Go back there. Don't be scared. This is the essence of today's activities. Workshops. All right, all right. All right, this table right here. You got And make sure you go to your workshop. We don't want to see you wandering around campus.